Rob and Robbo.
Streaming across the globe, Ben Norris, Rob McKnight, and David Robinson.
Ben, Rob and Robbo. News, reviews, entertainment news. It's the Ben, Rob and Robbo. Ben, Rob and Robbo. Ben, Rob and Robbo Show.
Welcome to the Ben, Rob and Robbo Show. Here's Rob McKnight.
Hello and welcome to the Ben, Rob and Robbo Show. It is Tipsy Thursday and I better plug myself in so I can hear the boys. That's the problem with having hardware that isn't wireless. Hello, Dave and Robbo. Dave and Robbo. Hello, Ben and Robbo. Still getting ready. Robbo, you've gone very dark. Robbo.
They've all gone.
Do the boys not know we're on air? What's happening here? Hello? We've lost our connections to both the boys. Well, I'm going to sit back. Join me for Tipsy Thursday and I'll tell you what's coming on. I didn't realise that was a still frame. It's funny, isn't it, Amanda? Every time we do our checks, everyone's there talking and all of a sudden they disappear just as the show begins. So, yes. Oh, I can hear Robbo coming back.
Hello there.
Hello, David.
Sorry about that. Everything froze. We've got a bloody exciting show. I'm very dark.
Yes, what's happened to your lighting?
Nothing.
We got no.
Nothing.
Let me see if I can fix this up. This is absolutely hilarious.
Where's Ben?
And Ben's disappeared. I genuinely do not know what's going on here, and I'm trying to colour correct you, Robbo. Watch this. The viewers at home get an inside look as to how the magic happens. There we go. So, Robbo...
There we go. That's a bit better.
Can someone actually explain to me what happened? Because I literally went to pour a glass of wine. You were all there, and you and Ben both disappeared.
Ben's gone to get wine, I think.
Well,
Amanda just said
news
Ben's
is
gone to
sketchy,
get
but obviously... obviously details are sketchy. Going to be a rolling coverage situation. Ben forgot we started the show at 1 o'clock.
Maybe he did, and now you've gone into the dark. This is like episode 1.
We've seemed to have changed the start date.
I got to tell you, Robbo, I think you and Ben, I think you might need to reconnect because it's like the old Dalek days. Are you on the right internet connection? And I don't know, this has just gone to hell in a handbasket. Ben, are you there?
Yeah, I think I'm kind of here. Like I can hear my audio, but it seems to be really crackly.
What happened
Yeah, it seems
to
really
you?
strange that... Well, the show started and it was like the mainframe dropped out. So you just froze and then it said in a little box, you've been kicked off by the host. It's very technical stuff for the people at home. But
Maybe
look,
I tripped
I just
over
want to talk more
something.
about this. Yeah, I think I saw you sort of stumble over like the drunken host and start the show and then it just froze.
Well, considering there were problems on both ends, maybe something weird's going on in Queensland. You know, they've been closing down the borders, kept the borders closed. Maybe Anastasia Palaszczuk has decided no internet connections either. So, you know, we've got the NBN, we've got high gigabit rates. There should be no dramas, but that's live television, that's live streaming. But while you're here, I believe Robbo's back, hopefully. Let's get into the hot button issues because there's a lot to talk about today. We have Melissa Doyle coming up. Robbo has done an interview with Melissa Doyle and this is going to be great. So we can't wait to see that. We've got Joe Casamento talking movies and of course Ben will have all the entertainment news. First of all, let's get into the hot button issues. And you can cut the tension with a knife in this interview with Leah Michelle and Glee co-star Amber Riley. Oh, I've just been told I'm in the entertainment report on my order.
I was like, that's my story, McKnight.
All right. Amanda,
How much have you
here's
had
what
to
I want-
drink?
Sorry. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to roll, just for the people watching the live stream, you've seen all the stuff ups and watching ticker. We're going to go again, and then I'm going to upload the proper version. So I'm going to get Amanda to roll the opener, and we're going to pretend none of this happened. All right? This is just for the
Let's
liveys.
shut the curtain and start again.
Yeah. So let's go to Black Amanda, and let's roll the opener.
Ben, Rob and Robbo.
Streaming across the globe, Ben Norris, Rob McKnight, and David Robinson.
Ben, Rob and Robbo. News, reviews, entertainment news.
It's the Ben, Rob and Robbo, Ben, Rob and Robbo Show. Rob and Robbo Show.
Welcome to the Ben, Rob and Robbo Show. Here's Rob McKnight.
I didn't put the mics on. Amanda, go again. We're rolling the opener again. I'm going to get this right.
Shut the curtain.
Ben, Rob and Robbo.
Streaming across the globe, Ben Norris, Rob McKnight, and David Robinson.
Ben, Rob and Robbo. News, reviews, entertainment news. It's the Ben, Rob and Robbo. Ben, Rob and Robbo Show. Ben, Rob and Robbo Show.
Welcome to the Ben, Rob and Robbo Show. Here's Rob McKnight.
Welcome to this seamless broadcast of the Ben, Rob and Robbo Show. And if you think you've seen this 3 times, that's because you're enjoying Tipsy Thursday and you're already drunk. Let's welcome our co-hosts, Ben Norris and David Robinson. Hello, boys.
Hello there,
Hi.
good to be with you. Are we with you? We don't know. Is this
We
happening?
are.
Is this real life?
And there's
Thank God.
and for those who didn't catch the live stream, well, you missed out on the hijinks that have taken place because it's been a bit chaotic. We're only about 6 minutes late, so but we have a lot
Yeah.
coming up. But we finally got there. We have a lot coming up today. We are chatting with Melissa Doyle. We are having Joe Casamento talking movies, and of course Ben will have entertainment. But look, let's get into our hot button issues, and it's a protester, and a protester. As soon as my auto... Oh, my gosh. You've got to be kidding me. I'll just open up the script on the page over here, I think, because there's been some...
I
big
think it's
issues
happening
with
at your
protest.
end because it's still happening for me. Like I'm breaking up a lot.
Don't
Can you
worry
hear
about
me
that,
properly?
Ben. The others don't know. We're just going to plow on. Look, there's been some big issues today with a protester at the coronavirus, at the Black Lives Matter protest in Melbourne, has actually tested positive to coronavirus. Now, health authorities are saying that they didn't catch the virus at the protest and they were wearing a mask. Robbo, is this concerning for everyone that was at the protest?
Well, I think it is, Rob. We were talking about this earlier on the show. This is pretty bad stuff because it wasn't social distancing. There weren't. Not everyone was wearing a mask. As you mentioned, the protester who's got coronavirus did wear a mask. I think this is the tip of the iceberg here. I really do. I think we're going to see a lot more of these cases come out over the next couple of weeks. It crystal would happen.
That's it. And Ben, we've been concerned about a second wave, and the advice was to anyone that went to the protest to actually quarantine for 14 days. The protesters said they wouldn't do that. This, to me, speaks volumes on why everyone at that protest should have gone and gone into isolation for 14 days.
Yeah, I think yesterday when we were discussing this, what I was saying is that they may be coming into the protest, these little stations like they do at cafes, to make sure that people were registered and make sure that people going in there, everyone knew who was there, and if there was an outbreak, I mean, miraculously, let's just say miraculously, no one is affected, which would be fantastic. Then there would be no issue. But look, if there is an outbreak, then they would know what sections people were in. It just could have been better managed all around. But look, we're in trying times, so I think, we've got to just put a magnifying glass over the whole thing and try and think a little bit harder, be a bit
We
smarter.
have to listen to the advice. When authorities tell us we should quarantine or self-isolate for 14 days, we've got to listen to that. No, everyone supports the idea of the protest. There isn't an issue with that. And I say that if you want to risk yourself, fine, go and protest. But there is still a pandemic around and we are becoming complacent. And so if you want to go out and you watch that vision we just showed, there was no social distancing. Any suggestion there was is complete BS. And so you have to isolate. You're putting other members of the community at risk if you don't. I'm really concerned about this, Robbo.
It's going to be really bad, and it's almost like now time will tell. Hopefully, it isn't a massive ticking time bomb. But you've got to think. We know that the coronavirus is very easily caught. It's very easily. People were shoulder to shoulder, breathing on everyone. I'm anxious, to be honest, about what we're going to see in the future, because remember we had massive protests all around the country. Now, yeah, you're exactly right. It's actually kind of made me angry the more I think about this now. Is we've got these massive groups of people protesting for a good cause, as you mentioned. We don't take away from that, but bloody hell, like to do this in the midst of a pandemic, it's a bit bloody stupid, isn't it?
Yes, it is. All right, let's move on. And a 61-year-old Northern Territory police officer has been sacked after printing and distributing offensive shirts. Don't want to get shot? Don't stab a cop. Hashtag Blue Lives Matter. The officer was suspended with no pay in April over the shirts and has now lost his job. The phrase was referring to a fatal police shooting of a 19-year-old man in a remote community. Ben, we often take the side of the police on this show where we say you have to be respectful of police, but we have talked about the other side of police. Where do you stand on this issue?
Oh, I just think this man's a bit of a doofus. Like, what a stupid idea for it. I will say, though, really, just off the topic, that a friend of mine bought a T-shirt recently online, and it was so offensive. And then, I told Ben about it, and Ben then questioned this friend when we saw him and said, "Have you worn that T-shirt that you bought yet?" And he was like, "Oh, no, it's okay. I'll just wear it at home." Why print the T-shirts? I don't understand. Like, I mean, if it's pushing some form of racism or it's inappropriate, I don't understand. Like, maybe just pretend that you wore it. But by printing something out like that is disgusting.
Do you know the thing that I come back to on this is that I do think we need respect for the police. And if you are trying to stab a police officer, then you get shot, you get shot. I actually have no problem with the idea he's projecting. The problem is it does come across as racist. And Robbo, I understand the sentiments because I do believe that if you're coming at and I don't know the details of this case, so I need to separate that from this because I'm just going to be honest and I do not know the specific details, and I believe that he's actually been charged with murder and he's going up against the court, so it's not my place to say what did or didn't happen. But let's take a situation where a person is charging at a police officer. In my book, that police officer has every right to
That's
shoot.
not the issue. The T-shirt's the issue. Sorry,
Hang
Robbo.
on, I'll come back to that, Ben.
Well, we'll do it now if you don't mind, Miss McNutt, because I agree with Ben. The issue, I know I'm not in the middle of the screen, but I just took charge for a little bit. I do apologise. This is not helpful at all. Yes, okay. If you've got someone that's running at you with a knife, obviously you have to protect yourself. That's fine. This doesn't need to be said. It doesn't need to be said this way, and it doesn't need to be said in those words. We're dealing with really deep-rooted issues in communities, especially remote communities in Australia.
Yeah, I agree.
Where it's so important as a two-way street. So, yes, a policeman has done the wrong thing, allegedly. We as you said, that it's before the courts. But to then inflame the issue, if you could print that shirt and then on the back of it, detail it exactly what happened. For example, had the police been badgering the guy? Have they got a bad personal relationship? All of that, right? So just to say something like that is grossly negligent and not helpful.
I actually agree with you, Robbo. It wasn't necessary. And the guy's copying it, but that's the problem. People do stupid things and then should their lives be destroyed? This guy's going to be hounded. He's lost his job. We certainly are in the cancel culture, and there's a lot more of that coming in today's episode. Even.
You sound like
but
George's Marvelous Medicine trying to make a potion. You're just throwing so many things into this situation. Now you're confused. Like, as in, at the end of the day, this...
Not confused at all.
No.
You've mentioned cancel culture.
Yes, because
Yes,
the guy has lost his job over printing a T-shirt. Cancel culture. The guy has taken a real legitimate issue of people. Police now are the perpetrators. Whether they're guilty or not, they're seen as guilty before there's even been a trial. To me, and I come back, I'm not confused, mate. I'm telling you, there are a couple of things going on. There is a situation where someone has had a knife with a police officer. As I say, I don't know all the details. But in my mind, police officer has the right to shoot person. That police officer is now being charged with murder. We'll see the results of that. A fellow police officer is printing shirts to say, if you come running at a police officer with a knife, you will get shot. Now, I actually agree with that sentiment. So I'm not sure where you think my confusion is, but I'm understanding there are layers to this. And the problem with being in the Northern Territory is that it has a perception of racism, and it could possibly be racist. But his message is,
This
I
is a
think
story
he's
about
trying
a
to say respect
t-shirt.
the police, which I agree with.
No, look, I think, yeah, no, but look, you don't print that T-shirt. Like Robbo and I've just said that. Like, you just don't print that T-shirt. Everything you're arguing about is valid. I see where you're coming from, but we're talking about a T-shirt being printed, and that man should have spent maybe 5 more minutes thinking about
Sure.
whether or not he should print those T-shirts. I mean, it's really disrespectful. The case hasn't come to an end, and there's family members that have that someone's son or someone's relative has died, and then someone's made a T-shirt. And at the end of the day, we all know from the history of printing T-shirts like that, it's about humor, it's about joking, and this ain't a joke. Someone's dead. So don't print the T-shirts, and anyone out there that thinks they're going to print a T-shirt that's about someone's death, think again.
Yeah, and look,
Yes,
I agree
so-
with that. I think you've got a very valid point. And Ben, you've swayed me. You say I'm unswayable, but you've swayed me.
Can we have sound effects where all of a sudden a God sound comes on and like a halo comes down above my head and like the Simba light, the Simba light from the sun?
But
Just-
don't
oh
say
my
I'm
God!
confused. But don't say I'm confused
It's a
because
miracle!
you put up a legitimate argument, and I've gone, oh yeah, Ben's got a point.
Robert, what do you have to
that's not
say?
being
What do you have to
confused,
say?
That's being.
Can we? Yeah, all right. Can we
No,
just
Robbo,
finish
you
this,
didn't say
finish
anything
this love in off
constructive.
air?
Joking.
Okay, I'm going to say something here. I think that possibly, I get your thing about cancel culture, and I'm not a big fan of it. I don't think this is cancel culture. This is being sacked for doing the wrong thing and bringing the police force into disrepute. This is not cancel culture. You are a police officer. You want respect. Then someone in a high position I would like to think, would know that this is not appropriate. So this is not cancel culture. This is something that should have happened.
I think you've swayed me too. All right. We'll ring the bell. This is a moment. You've both,
I
you've both put
really-
up a
this
valid
one I
argument.
really like.
Or maybe my wiring's gone wrong with all the technical issues. And just for the record, people, we are broadcasting each day from a garage. Most of the time it works seamlessly. 90%, 80%. Would you believe
65.
40%?
Gold.
No, it's fine.
Look, let's move on. Joanne Lees admits to cheating on her boyfriend, Peter Falconia, in unseen footage that has just aired in Britain. Back in 2001, Lees and Falconia were attacked by Bradley Murdoch. Falconia was fatally shot and Lees escaped abduction. The new documentary shows an emotionless Lees discussing her affair with police.
There's indications that your relationship with Pete might have been souring a little bit from Sydney. Can you tell us about that?
I had an affair with someone called Nick, and it lasted a month. Pete didn't know about it.
Would you describe as a romantic relationship? Did you have plans?
We just said if we felt anything after in 6 months or whatever when we got back from England, then we'd review it.
Many viewers panned Lees, saying she was cold and rude, while others came to her defence. Robbo, should this footage have been shown?
Yeah, because it's already on the public record. So in a pre-trial hearing, this was announced, and according to one reporter, there was an audible gasp about this kind of information. So yeah, I think it is a big part of the story.
Why is it?
because
It's
there-
not
there
relevant
was-
whether she had an affair or not.
Well, but that's also the other thing. She determined that it wasn't relevant. Now, I think all details need to be examined, and all details need to be put out there, especially in a case, as tragic as this. From memory, I think there was initially some kind of, suspicion that maybe because the body wasn't found and she escaped and all that kind of thing, that she had some part in it. I'm not saying that at all
How horrible is
now.
that for that poor girl who's been through this horrible,
Of
horrible
course.
situation? We now drag
Of
up every
course.
detail of her past. We blame her for doing it. I mean, my goodness, this
No.
one's been up to hell and back.
No, I don't think we're blaming her for it. But come on, you're in the media. That is a juicy little nugget, as we like to call it. Now, yes, we can then debate for days about the conscience and the right thing to do from the media. That's a different story. Do I think that this is worthy of being broadcast? Yes. Would I, if I was producing the program, put it in? Yes. If you were producing the program, would you put it in? Yes.
Maybe I would. I don't know. I just, she's a victim, and I just get a little. She's a victim of a horrible situation where her boyfriend was killed. She's been abducted. She escaped a madman, was accused of the crime, and after all this time, was it known? Just correct me. I didn't know that she'd had an affair. Did it need to come out all these years later?
I think people did know about it. I think this documentary has highlighted the fact.
Yes,
it was already out there. It was, like I mentioned before, it was in the pre-trial.
Yeah, but I don't know. Was it at this level? I don't know. It just leaves a bad taste in my mouth, Ben. I'll give you the final word on this one.
Oh, yeah. I just think that it's so funny when you look at the way that people watch that documentary about something that happened years before, and then they see a reaction of a woman who has just had her partner killed in front of her, and she's not reacting the way that we think is socially normal. So then we, say that she's a bad person, etc. All of that is quite crazy. But I mean, it was only yesterday that someone told me about this story. They were like, "Oh, did you watch that documentary? Oh, I'm so far that case." And she was like, "Did you know she had an affair?" And I said, "Yeah, it was with a guy named Nick." And she was like, "Oh my God, how did you know? This is new. It's an exclusive." And I'm like, kind of been out before. So look, as far as I'm concerned, it is a bit disgusting, but Robbo's probably right. If you're a producer and you're trying to get that show on the road, you're going to go and look for some scandal, have that as what you're going to hang your hat on. It's a bit gross. When I heard about it, I decided I don't want to watch the documentary. It's sensationalized to me. And it's an old story. That woman needs to get on with her life. And she doesn't need people to be jump-started over accusations that her behavior wasn't normal when her partner had just been murdered.
Do you know what's scary today is that you and Robbo have pretty much agreed on everything, and I've been the lone voice today. So it is the end of days.
This can't be the real life.
It is the end of days.
Yeah, something's happening.
A former CEO of a Brisbane hospital has been charged with corruption over alleged nepotism. He was trying to get his daughter a taxpayer-funded job. Malcolm Frederick Stam has since moved back to his native UK after being sacked in 2015. He's agreed to voluntary return to Australia when COVID-19 travel restrictions are lifted. This got us thinking, is nepotism always bad, Ben?
Oh, look, I always say I plead spelling, and that is that Tori Spelling got cast on 90210, which is production, and then, shockingly, I really liked Tori Spelling on that show, so that show turned out. I couldn't imagine if someone else had that role, because you kind of needed a bit of a nuffie to play that role up against Shannon Doherty and Jenny Garth. So life always comes down to subject to the rule. Is that the saying? I don't know.
Yes.
Subject to the rule. So nepotism is sort of a bit dirty when you first see it or you hear about it. But if the person has a qualification that's better than anybody else, I think it's the same as trying to get a green card or going overseas. If they can prove that they can do the job better, then they get the job. And I haven't seen this case. I haven't been there to hear the discussion. So I'm just going to say I plead the Tory Spelling.
Robbo, in the media industry, for example, it really is a case of not what you know sometimes, but who you know. Is nepotism a bad thing?
I think nepotism is always bad. Now, I take the point on entirely what Ben was saying in regards to, if you're the right person for the job, then you should get the job. It's just not good on a few levels, right? So if the person isn't, if the person is, they come in and there's always going to be that cloud over them anyway. So that upsets the other employees, and you've got to take into account the health and well-being of your other employees, because they'll always think that person's going to get favourable treatment from the boss because they're related to the boss. I think casting on a TV show or casting in movies is a little bit different. That's up to the casting. That's very subjective anyway. But I just think nepotism is never any good. I have worked in places where nepotism was there. They had zero skills. And were promoted very quickly because their boss was their mother. Now,
That's
they
bad.
might be good now, but it just wasn't good at the time. I just think nepotism is always bad. I should have just said yes.
Can I-
Sorry. Went on for a bit.
I add something on top. You probably could have, yeah.
Right.
I just want to add something on top of this, and that was that when my very first job I got was because Denise Drysdale, was with my father at the time, and I said I wanted a job at this, being rejected 5 times, going up and applying. Anyway, she obviously had Alan Finney on the show, who worked for Roadshow. He pulled a few strings and I got a job. And everyone at that workplace for 2 years treated me so badly. And I guess I wasn't that great at the job and it was a little bit unfair. But I also feel sorry for sometimes these people that are in these roles and then people are purposefully mean to them because of that circumstance. I think we need to kind of grow up and look at things more maturely.
Yeah, I agree. Well, moving on, and wherever there is Big Brother, controversy is never far behind. With 3 housemates now evicted, some people think there's possible racism behind the decisions of the other housemates. Laura is Fijian Australian, Alan is Chinese Australian, and Subong is Korean. Alan told the Huffington Post that it was a coincidence and just bad luck that he and the other two were evicted, but not everyone is so sure. Ben, is race even something that people would take into account when talking about nominations?
Look, I think that I have to be really honest when I say this, but I was on a pretty white series of Big Brother and I couldn't use a purposeful example of that because in my series, there was a Lebanese person and that was as far as we really went when it came to diversity. Also, I was the oldest person at 32 and the youngest was 19, so the age wasn't that diverse either.
Yeah.
But I would suggest this one thing, and I don't necessarily know the facts, so I will suggest this, and that is that it's definitely worth thinking about, and I can understand why people have drawn that conclusion. I have heard that he's not doing any discussions in the media at the moment today. And I certainly hope that isn't because of a racial issue that we have in this country, because if that, I'm going to re-clarify this. I'm just going to hope to God that it isn't a racial issue, but I don't know all the facts.
Look, here's what I would say. And yes, Subong was meant to be on our show today and has become unavailable, and we believe it's to do with this whole issue blowing up today. My personal opinion is that I can pinpoint why everyone has voted each contestant out of the Big Brother house. Laura was annoying people from the get-go, and we talked to Laura about that. Alan was a master strategician. You know, like, I love him, and I think he's a great person. I want him to be on our Eye on Big Brother video and podcast, and we think that's going to happen. But goddamn, I would have voted him out because I couldn't trust a word he said. He was there saying, Kieran, I'm not going to vote for you, and then I'm going to vote for Kieran. He will never see this coming. Subong went in, and I think we've got some vision of Subong. Why would you, I mean, there he is there, but we've also got some vision of him, the muscly man, which we'll get to in a moment. And he is a fierce competitor. There is no way I would want Subong in the challenges with me because he is just too fierce. He scares the bejesus out of me from a competitive point of view. And if you're thinking strategically in this house, where you know the person who wins the challenges is going to be the person nominating, you would know straight away the 2 people on my radar, 3 people, would be Subong, Dan, and Talia. You know, like, they are the 3 people I would be trying to get rid of straight away. Although, as I said last night, Talia I would keep with me because there's no way Australia's voting for her to win because they all hate her. But, you know, Robbo, do you think...
But they don't know that inside the show.
No, that's true. Robbo, do you think this is race-related?
I really don't, because if it was for a flimsiest excuse, then maybe you could draw the long bow. But, you know, there are so many people in that house. I really don't think it's a race issue at all. I agree with everything you just said. I wanted to vote those people out if I was in there, like you said as well, for what they were doing. I just, you know what, if 3 women, if it was all women that were evicted, you know, in the first evictions, then it would be a sexism thing. If all blondes were, you know, evicted, it would be, you know, things against blondes. If all redheads were, whatever. People are just out there like looking for outrage, looking for things to pick up on and do this and do that.
It's a really dangerous time at the moment. That's my only concern.
Would you not, though?
Yeah,
like, nominate all 3 of those people? Because I would have, for exactly the reasons why most people did.
No, that wasn't my look. I hate to refer back to myself, but it wasn't my strategy. I actually got eliminated all the weakest players on the show, keeping the strongest people, and that was
I
my
mean,
own
I can't
selfish
believe that
gain.
worked for you,
Nothing.
Ben, quite frankly.
Well, let me tell you, my bank account with the $250,000.
Yeah, I
would
know.
agree
That's
with
what
me.
I'm saying. I can't believe that worked for you, and well played.
But I'm just going to say, though, this is an anomaly, and I hope it's an anomaly, but it's just a really bad look at a particular time right now, because it doesn't take, like, as soon as it happened, and as soon as we saw that third eviction, I went, oh, this just looks so bad. And the one thing I will say that's good about us talking about this is it is an anomaly, which is fine, but we should talk about race, and we should talk about it more. And maybe Big Brother, which represents and sort of mirrors society, gives us a chance for us to think outside the box and probably avoid racism at all costs.
The people in there, they're all voting, right? They are voting for who they think is a threat. They're using strategy. And I've got to say, if they're using race, that would be bloody stupid, because choosing people to be voted out on race is not going to win you the game. So that's a stupid reason to vote.
I just don't
so
think
if
that's
they
happening.
are, and I don't believe that's happening. I believe that people have looked at the qualities of these people. You know, like Kieran came close to getting voted because of the way he behaved. We have a situation where this is a game. We have to stop. You know what? We should be looking at it like, what are the reasons people voted? And if people went into that diary room, and my understanding is you can go onto the Seven website and see the whole reasons everyone gives for nominating everyone. No one's going to go in there and say, well, I voted them because he's Asian. No, seriously,
No,
Subong was a threat. Pure and
He
I
was
don't know.
doing,
Why do I have
like,
to?
push-ups
Why do I have to
with
be
one
so
finger.
honest? Oh. Can I just
Sorry,
say, why do
Robbo.
I have to be so honest? Yeah, go, Robbo.
No, I was just saying, when the man's in a cage and he's doing pull-ups with one finger, the whole show is based on challenges. And we saw with the first one especially, and the second one, that you needed to be very fit. You know, that's a massive advantage. I believe that it doesn't matter what race, nationality, whatever, that Subong
If you can do push-ups with two
if he
fingers,
was
you're
the
out
same
of there.
person, if he was the same person, with a different color skin or a different nationality, he would have been voted out.
Yep.
I think the
100%
reason why I know that we're going to wrap up on this, but I remember being at school in the 80s in primary school, and I remember the last people that were picked at sport were my Asian friends.
Yeah.
And I just remember the parallel was just right upon me last night when I watched that, and I just was like, are we still there? I'm saying, though, that I hope it's an anomaly, and I think we have to believe that.
Ben, it's a huge accusation to make in this climate to be accusing those people of racism. You are that's defamatory. You are tarring these people with that brush, and based on no evidence, etc.
Actually, you know what, Rob? I'm not tarnishing those people with it.
I'm talking about the media reports, not you, Ben. Sorry.
Yeah, I'm certainly not saying that, because I'm saying that this is an anomaly because I don't have all the facts.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, because it is so similar to experiences like myself being in school and Asian people being picked last, it just was a parallel that made me think about it. And as I think about it and as I process it, I think Big Brother is a legendary show that reflects society, and it gives us time to think. And whilst this is probably an anomaly, I hope that Australia is thinking about it. And
It's created a conversation, at least.
yeah, 100%. And I think that's the magic of reality television, is creating some conversations and having that magnifying glass put over society and just having to think about things a little bit. You know what? I really hope that those three contestants go into All Stars, or I really hope that they get put back in the show later in the show in some weird twist. I don't know. Maybe they bring them back from the dead. But I really enjoyed all three of those people, and I really enjoyed your interview with Alan, and I think they were fantastic. Fantastic housemates. And I also just want to say, I'm just so glad, I'm so proud of all three of them, and I can say that because they're a part of the Big Brother family, and I think that's important.
Well, Alan is going to be on our Eye on Big Brother video and podcast. And Subong, I was so looking forward to meeting him, because I didn't feel I really got to know him because he was there for such a short time. But I come back to it. I certainly would have voted him out because the sheer strength of the man. And hashtag, I'm a white guy, and I know I shouldn't be talking about race issues because I am white, but I'm going to because I'm on a topic-based discussion program. So let's move on. And it's Thursday, and I thought for our final topic of the day, we'd just have a cat video.
Meow.
Let's kick
Oh,
it.
amazing.
Ice, ice, baby.
That cat has just eaten ice cream and has brain freeze. I love it.
Wow.
Oh,
We've
I
all
read
felt
that
it.
situation differently. I thought that was Mike Myers in Studio 54 after something else. Anyway,
Okay,
different story.
maybe we need to play it again with the understanding the cat is being fed ice cream and might change
Oh,
your viewpoint.
great. I thought it was something else.
Let's kick it. Ice, ice, baby.
We've all been there.
I've seen media executives pull that same face at the Logies.
And it wasn't ice cream. All right, let's get some news. And for that, we cross to Aaron Young in the Ticker newsroom. Hello, Aaron. What's making news?
This is Ticker. I'm Aaron Young. These are the top stories this Thursday. China's state media has unleashed an extraordinary attack on Australia, saying our chronic problem with racism is now worsening. Comes after a Chinese student from Hong Kong was punched in the face and injured for wearing a face mask back in March, and a pair of Chinese students were attacked by local gang members in broad daylight back in April. Tesla's stock has jumped above $1,000 a share after Elon Musk told his staff it was time to bring the Tesla semi-commercial truck to volume production. However, the Tesla boss has not specified an exact time frame. Twitter says it's testing a new feature on Android devices that prompts users to open articles before sharing them. The social media company has been tightening its policies in recent years amid criticism its hands-off approach had allowed abuse, fake accounts and misinformation to thrive on its platform. Meanwhile, Facebook's partially lifting its advertising ban on face masks and will now allow third-party businesses to advertise cloth masks and other non-medical face coverings like bandanas. The weather map now for this Thursday, starting with us here in Melbourne. Cloudy top of 15 degrees ahead. Sydney 20 degrees, cloudy for Brisbane, rain for Perth and sunny, and 16 degrees for Adelaide. Local shares now were predicted to open lower and they have. Sharp drop first thing this morning, still above that all-important 6,000 marker, which we are still hovering over. The expectation was we'd drop about 1.4%. Hasn't quite reached that, but has a lot of time to go following on from what happened in the US. Check the Dow now. Look at that for a picture of red. The Fed Reserve reiterating continued effort to bolster what it sees as challenging days ahead for the US economy. I'm Aaron Young. This is Ticker. You are up to date. Now back to the Ben, Rob and Rob Show.
Thank you, Legend, and I hope you have a great weekend. We will see you on Monday. In the meantime, let's go over to Robbo.
Well, our next guest is one half of Australia's most famous television duo, and we woke up with her for over a decade on the Seven Network's Sunrise. Melissa Doyle has been on our screens for 30 years and is easily one of the best broadcasters this country has ever produced. It thrills me to say this. Melissa Doyle, welcome to the Ben, Rob and Robbo Show.
Hey. It's so nice to join you. Good to see you. How are you?
Oh, it's wonderful to see you. I'm so excited. We're all so excited. I like to start my interviews a little differently, Melissa Doyle. What did you have for your tea last night?
David Robinson, that's very formal. Pork chop and salad and roast pumpkin. I had to think
Oh,
through.
that sounds
I like
very nice.
tea.
Actually, yeah, I like tea. It just makes me feel more Australian a bit. Mel, we do have to stop you there. We've got some breaking news coming in from a past update. We're going to take that to you now.
Good evening. The 1991 Canberra Asander Rally has been won by West Australian Ross Dunkerton. It's his third consecutive title, making him the undisputed king of the forest. A Bulli man was this afternoon airlifted from Bungonia Gorge near Tallong after injuring his ankle while bushwalking. He was treated by ambulance officers before being transported to Goulburn Hospital. More local news.
Melissa Doyle there with that very important update.
Yeah. And she was trying to sound very grown up and proper. Clearly, I was in my early 20s and trying to sound like I knew what I was talking about, you know, when you put the newsreader voice on. And then you get to a point in your career where you just can't sustain it, so that just ends, and then you just speak normally. So, yeah.
When I came across that and I found that, I thought, oh, that has got to go in. I'm assuming with that hair, Mel, that you couldn't go near a naked flame? A lot of hairspray?
It's beautifully coiffed, and the clip-on earrings, and look, it screams, you know, 1993 or whatever it was. So,
it was wonderful. Well, tell us with news. How is it different now to what it was then? What was it like to work in an Australian newsroom back in those days?
I think essentially it's the same. It's the same concept where they're doing breaking news. You work all day to put a story together and either bring it to air at night or whether it's in the morning. I think the main difference now is the news cycle just goes a lot faster, because people get their news all day, every day from so many different sources. So, whether you're getting it on TV, whether you're reading it, whether you're getting it on your phone, your devices, whatever, the news cycle itself, I think, goes a lot faster. Back then, without wanting to age myself too much, but most people would be at work all day and you come home and you watch the news at 6 p.m. and that was the first time all day you'd heard what had happened within the last sort of 12 hours or so. So I think that's the main change. But essentially, what we do is the same. You gather news, you spend the day making sure that you've got everything covered, that it's accurate, and you present it at night.
Mel, did you always know that you wanted to do this?
Yeah, I did actually. I think that makes it a bit easier. I think I remember being about 8 and wanting to be an astronaut and realising that probably wasn't going to happen. But no, I just loved, I was that kid that would, sit up and write stories all the time and just that curiosity, I think. So probably from about 12, I reckon, I knew I wanted to be a journalist. And I do remember being at school and I would take myself off to anywhere that would have me for work experience. So going to the Manly Daily and doing the graveyard shift on 2UE and hanging in newsrooms, anywhere that would have me so that I could decide. I loved broadcast journalism because I wanted to see it. And I knew that in order to be a print journalist, I didn't think I was a good enough writer. I love when I read someone's beautiful writing and I just admire the way they have a turn of phrase. It's so clever. And I knew that I probably wasn't going to be that good. So TV just had me. I just want to see the pictures.
Well, do you know, I hope you don't mind me saying this, there was one moment that I've always remembered where you told me once that you're a terrible speller. And I thought, oh, thank God, because so am I. And maybe I've got a career ahead of this. I hope you don't mind me saying that, but I thought, oh, that was very powerful because I don't know how to spell.
Yeah, neither do I.
Yeah.
No, but there's
sorry. No. Yeah, that's exactly right. You quickly rose through the ranks at 7 after some time with Prime and Win. You even presented the news on the iconic 11 a.m. Do you miss shows like that, or have they gone forever? Is that just something that we relegate to the past?
Oh no, I mean I think we've got the morning show in that time slot. There's always shows. Television evolves just like every other industry and things, but it was a fantastic, we had Andrew Daddo and Anne Fulwood and they were hosting and I'd read the news. The only thing I must say that's changed is, so I used to have like a little sort of a timber stand-up desk, and because I had to be hardwired to it with my microphone and my earpiece, I would have to walk across the set while the camera was on Anne and Andrew and put my little desk down, stand there and read the news, and then when I'd finish I'd walk off. So I think we probably got a slightly fancier set. But at or what we do is essentially the same as it has been for a very long time. Things look a little different, be they hair and wardrobe and earrings or sets or monitors. The other day actually in the office we were watching a news bulletin from, gosh, I don't know, it must be 30, 40 years ago maybe, and the monitors they had were these little tiny little screens, and you realise how much technology has improved what we do, but at the core of it, it is still the same. It's information, it's exactly what you do, information, it's topics for conversation, it's issues that we need to know about, that we want to talk about, it's giving people something to think about, it's looking at something in a different way, and maybe you can come away from watching an issue covered and have a different perspective, but essentially it's still the same, the same things we've always done.
Which is so good, and it's so lovely, obviously, to have someone like you who we've seen on our screens. We're familiar. We know that we can trust you, and we know that you're going to give us, the best information. So I think that's a wonderful thing. Forgive me, though. I'm going to indulge myself. Yes.
But it's not me. It's an entire newsroom. I just want to make sure.
Oh yeah,
it's
of
not
course.
Yeah, I just feel like we've got we're all driven by that need for accuracy, to cover it right, to get it right, and especially at this time more than ever, I think it's really important. But anyway, sorry, I'll be quiet now. Your turn.
No, it's fine. But 100% yes. There's plenty of people that support you, but you are the face, and we, just from my personal experience, when I see you on the telly, when something's big happening, I just know that I'm in safe hands. Obviously, there's a lot of people supporting you, but it's the way that you deliver it. It's the compassion that you have. Is what makes I think so many people love and adore you. We'll talk about that admiration in a moment, but I'm going to indulge myself now for a second. Now, my first job in television was with you. I spent 2 years at Sunrise, and we only got to share the desk just once, and that was when I was leaving. Let's have a look at that.
Hello there, isn't this the way it should be? Now, I've always wanted to read the auto cue. Now, today marks the end of an era.
Okay, that's enough. That's my line. Thank you very much.
Over to you, Mel.
Very well done. After more than 2 years with Sunrise, our beloved production, who went beloved? Production coordinator, Robbo,
Right, yeah.
is leaving.
Is that your title?
Yeah, that is my title, Koshi.
How do you just look exactly the same and just as young? But no, it was a pretty fantastic time. I loved it that you came to us and you were as green as we all were. I think that was the beauty in those days, wasn't it, with the show, that we all kind of made it up together as we went along.
Yeah, we really did. I'll tell you right now, I'm not the same. This desk hides a lot. I'll tell you right now, Melissa Doyle. But there was one moment where I still feel a little bit bad about this and feel a little bit weird. It just happened. Let's take a look.
Somewhere, someone will see my potential and I'll become a star.
What possessed you to try out?
Well, actually, you know that I'd do anything to get into TV. I'm even getting into bed with you, which is not unlike anything in the TV industry or so I've heard.
Look, everyone's waving. They're all going to miss you. They've all got tissues.
And Robbo, we baked a cake.
Thank you.
Your favourite.
Oh, it is my favourite too.
Oh, see, we love
But I've got to tell you, I remember going off after doing that, and I went to Adam Boland, who was the executive producer at the time. I said, "Oh no, I've just done something really bad." And he goes, "What?" I said, "I've hugged Mel, and I kept hugging her and kept hugging her and threw a bear away and kept hugging her." And he goes, "Oh, well, if you want to apologise, I apologise to you. You were lovely. You were wonderful." But it's still something where I think about, like, oh my goodness, I was touching a national treasure, and I felt bad about it. So I'm glad that are we cool, Mel? Are we cool?
You can hug me anytime. That's why I'm here today. I feel like we just bonded. So I think once you're in bed together hugging, then, there's just no way. But don't you look back?
Oh my goodness.
The thing that we loved the most about doing Sunrise is anything could happen. And there were so many times when things did, and people would say things, or there'd be sort of, moments in interviews when someone would swear or something would go haywire. But I think that was the beauty of it. There's nothing, as you know better than anyone, there's nothing like live television for what can go right and what can go wrong.
It is so much fun, and obviously we're going to move on from my connection with you, but I couldn't help, and I'm being a bit of a fanboy at the moment, but we've been shopping in LA at discount stores. We've been having dinner at a weird pub in Davenport in Tasmania. We've had a lot of good time, so I really appreciate that. And that was my first ever foray into television, something that I've wanted to do forever. So it was lovely to have done it with you. Now, you spent 11 years at Sunrise. Was it hard to say goodbye?
Oh, it had the most extraordinary time. I feel so lucky that I got to work on a program such as Sunrise with the people that I worked with, that we got to build something to what you watch today, and to be part of anything, to grow anything, whether it be a television program, whether it be a business, it doesn't matter what it is. I think it's a really unique opportunity. So it was a wonderful thing that I have nothing but fond memories of. But I think it's really important to keep evolving and changing and learning. I'm one of those people that I'll go, if I'm traveling, I want to go somewhere that I don't know anything about the place. I can't speak the language. I don't know about the food. The less I know about it, the more excited I am. So I'm one of those people that I want to keep learning forever. The day that I rock up to a job and do something and think, first of all, that I know how to do it, or that it feels like I've done it before. That's just, I need more. So I think change is really, really important. So I'm being grateful for every single opportunity that I've had along the way, and I like it that I can keep doing new things.
And we're bloody well very grateful that you can keep doing those things, because it means we can keep seeing you on the telly. Now, I've got to ask you, you've covered so many different things over a massive and wonderful career that's still going, of course. But what's one story that's really made an impact on you that stayed with you?
Yeah, it's a little hard, I think, to pick one, but I would say the stories that have touched me emotionally have been the ones that have had the biggest impact. So things where I've stood somewhere at a moment in time that I know is making history, whether it's the inauguration of President Obama or the election of Pope Francis. Moments in time like that are really quite extraordinary, standing on the Oscars red carpet. But the ones that have stayed within my soul are ones that I've been emotionally attached to. So I think Black Saturday bushfires is something that I will hold within me forever, to see the people and what they went through. That was extraordinary. There's no doubt covering the Link siege in the Link Cafe siege in Sydney. That was one of those moments in time where, some stories just really touch you deeply, and it's really hard to just walk away and move on to the next and not have them deep within you forever, how they affect you.
Well, there's such a responsibility. Yeah, you've spoken about the responsibility before, about, especially with, say, for the Sydney siege, when you were covering that, you said, you didn't want to give too much information away about the police operation, about what was happening outside, but you also had to balance that with the fact that the whole nation, rightly so, was watching you, wanting to find information. You've got to make some pretty split-second decisions on live TV. How is that done, and is that hard to do? What's that experience for you?
I think for me it was err on the side of caution. And, it's funny, I think you get to a point in your job, whatever it might be, that you feel that you've had a degree of experience and it brings you to that moment. That was one of those. I was so aware that my children were at home watching and mum was standing, a couple of 100 metres around the corner. And then I kept thinking, imagine if the television was on in the cafe and Manmonis was able to see what was going on outside. And, clearly we could see a lot of emergency vehicles and knew what was going on, but I thought we can't give any information away. And then I just kept thinking of the families of those who were being held, and they would be glued to the television for information. So it was one of those situations where I was very conscious that it wasn't a time for sensationalising. It wasn't a time for drama or, making something bigger than it was, because it was huge. It was frightening. There's no doubt we were all scared. So, yeah, you weigh those up at the moment, and I hope we treated it responsibly and with the dignity that we were very mindful of who was watching. But it was, no doubt very, very scary. But, I think of the people that were in there, more scary for them than anyone outside experienced. But yeah, a really big moment in time for us as a country.
But I genuinely think, though, that to have someone as compassionate and, I'm not just, blowing smoke, but as compassionate and genuinely caring as you are, I think that makes the broadcast very different from anyone else in the country. So I think we're very lucky to have you at stories like the ones that you've mentioned, as well as the siege. So I think that's amazing. I really do take my hat off to you. You really are one of our greatest broadcasters. Being one of our greatest broadcasters means that you've had a news team. Sorry, what's that, Mel? Sorry?
I feel like I'm about to retire or die. It's very sweet.
Oh, no, please. No, please. This is just me getting all this out, that I've had this love for you for so long. Really quickly, you've heard the 7 News theme, that very familiar theme, The Mission by John Williams. Do you ever find yourself, or did you ever find yourself humming it? Just while you were washing the dishes, or because it's in you, or can you ignore it?
No, I don't ignore it. Do you know what's funny? It's one of those moments where, so you're about to do live telly, you're sitting on the set, everything's, your hair and makeup's all been fixed and foofed and the lights are on and everyone's ready to go. And it's that moment of the opener rolling that is what snaps you into action. And you've done it. Live television is quite an extraordinary thing. You have that moment where, you know, a lot of people know there's delay in radio, you know, a 7-second delay button, but there's nothing. Television is live. So if you make a mistake or you stuff up or something goes wrong, then there's no taking it back. So it's almost that moment of going, bang, all right, here we go. This is it. And it's an exciting moment. I get that. Still, I get that sense of that thrill of here we go. This is live and I've got a bulletin to present, and there's people at home, whether they be cooking their dinner or whatever they might be doing, that want to know what happened in the world, and I'm about to tell them. And it's I keep using the word privilege, but it really is. It's an extraordinary privilege to do it. But yeah, for me, that's what that split second of the opener rolling and the sound of it does, where I'm like, okay, here we go, let's do it.
Time to go. Mel Doyle, this has been so lovely. Thank you so much for saying that you would do this and for spending your time. It's been a real thrill. It's great for our show, but really for personally, it's great for me. You literally have been one of my heroes since the beginning of my TV career. You are the sweetest, most loveliest person. We really appreciate it. And from the bottom of my heart, thank you for doing this. And it was great chatting with you.
Thank you for inviting me on, and well done to you. I feel a little maternal, but I see what you've done, and I'm really proud of you. So, yay, go you. Thanks, Robbo.
Thank you, Mel. Thank you.
Oh, Robbo, what a fantastic interview with David Robinson. I think Melissa Doyle was in there as well.
Oh, get out of it. She is an absolute bloody...
Sorry, was that an interview about the life and times of Melissa Doyle or the life and times of David Robinson with Melissa Doyle?
There were a couple of clips in there, but you know what? I put the clips in there because I'm just very proud of it.
Where's Ben gone?
I'm very proud of my time with her. Amanda, take my shot, please. For goodness sake, just take my shot. Yep. I was very proud of the time that I spent with her. I think she's wonderful.
She loves
really
you.
Is
she
the
loves
nicest
you
person
to death.
in the world.
And while we talk about, just a side note, if there happens to be someone called Joe Casamento who's standing by to come on this program, who hasn't got her phone on, her Facebook Messenger, her Twitter, who I've been trying to message for the last 10 minutes, if there is a person out there like that, just know we have no audio from you at the moment, Joe. So you might have to restart and work on that, and then we'll go to our cross. If there happens to be someone called Joe Casamento, you should see.
Yes.
Sorry, can we take the shot of her? Look at her face, Amanda.
Can we take it? Yeah.
Take the shot.
It's the face of the yeah.
She's like...
Can I just say weirdly, I mean, forgive me for knowing how television works. I would have done that after we'd finished thanking the wonderful, massive national treasure star that Melissa Doyle is, that she gave her time so freely to us. She was absolutely bloody wonderful. She's a great get for our show. And she was
yes,
so
but David, that was literally the only way I could communicate with Joe. So I wanted to give her the heads up so we could actually do the cross today. That is not taking away anything from Mel, because this is technical Tits Up Thursday as well as Tipsy Thursday. So,
I don't mind that.
But, yeah, okay.
A big thanks to Mel Doyle for doing
Robbo,
that.
you did a good job. No, she did a good job. And you know what? It is... And you know what? That's the thing, and I will just quickly highlight this, and that is that when you use a contact like someone who has been a huge part of your life, it means so much to you, and I completely can relate to you.
Yeah,
I felt the same way having like Joel Creasy and other people on the show, and I'm like, why didn't people get more excited? But you know what? I think it says more about my relationship with Joel, and that says so much about your relationship with Mel, and I thought it was a beautiful interview, and I thought it transcended well beyond you just... having a nice relationship with her.
Robert, seriously,
we loved it.
Yeah, Ben, I really appreciate that.
All jokes aside, it was a great interview. I back up everything Ben says, and what is abundantly clear is how much Mel loves you. Like, she did this interview for you. She loves you. You know, you have a friend there, and I think that's sometimes hard for you to understand and accept that you are loved.
And we love you.
All right.
We love you.
Yeah, let's move on.
We love you.
I just want to quickly say, people often ask me and say, because she's a massive star, Koshi was a massive star, it was a massive show, and people would say to me, what's it like working for them? Because they're big stars. And I would always naturally say they were both absolutely wonderful. And it was such a privilege to work on the show with them. I was the bottom rung of the ladder. I was below the bottom rung of the ladder on that show. But they were both just so lovely. All right. See what happens when I leave.
Oh,
Well,
Amanda's
thank you very
having a
much.
go at me. I crack a joke and Amanda's like, what are you doing? Thanks, Amanda. Look, Robbo, well done. And look, this is the point. In a moment, we are going to talk entertainment. And oh my God, there are some huge entertainment stories happening. And we are going to talk to Jo Casamento if she can work out her audio. Jo, I still have no audio from you. She's there looking and I'm like trying to communicate with her. There is no audio signal coming from you, Jo. She's now gone into panic mode. But this is the point where people on Ticker will leave us for today. So thank you for your company and we will see you Monday at 1 o'clock. Goodbye, everyone on Ticker.
I will see you for breakfast in the morning. Bye.
I say, yeah, there they go. They've gone. Sorry, I was watching the monitor just waiting for it. And now it's time for our random live shot of the day.
It's the random life shot of the day. Where are you going today? You never know where you'll end up with the random life shot of the day.
And today we're taking you to beautiful Poland. Oh, Amanda picked this one. Well done, Amanda. It does say it'll be a partly cloudy 12 degrees with a high of 24. I think it's slightly cloudy. Partly cloudy? I don't know, Amanda. I think it might be a bit more than partly cloudy there. But while we're there, let's have a look at some of the feedback coming through to the Ben, Rob and Robbo show on this beautiful vista that we're seeing at the moment. I'm in so much trouble, boys, because Amanda said, don't take random live shot of the day. It looks terrible. And I'm like, nah, we're taking it. You have to look. Sorry, that's not the one I wanted. I did send a new one. Oh, god damn. I haven't changed the setup. All right, I'm going to take a moment to fix. We're only on the
The wheels have come off.
They have come off because for some reason our VMix social is going through the wrong thing. And then I've fixed it, hopefully. So if I send through it again, because there's great feedback coming through. There we go. Best 4 minutes. Oh. Come back. Okay, best 4 minutes ever. Make that the best 7 minutes ever. I don't know what they're talking about. Possibly some technical problems at the beginning of today's show if you were watching the live stream. Malcolm Blunt says the consequences of starting Tipsy Thursday too early. I think you might be right now. Carol Spencer, who is the fabulous Carlotta, actually says, I'm not happy, Jan. I've been isolating since 8th of March. And she's talking about the protesters who have... there's been a case of COVID-19 in one of the protesters and it could lead to serious consequences in a second wave. Ben Williams says protesters have potentially set us back months and may very well start a second wave outbreak. I hope I'm wrong. Abby says a fatal shooting is a tragedy, not a punchline disgusting, and that is to do with the COVID-19, a police officer who made T-shirts having a go at someone who was shot by the police when he approached them with a knife. Jamie says, Rob, is that your first bottle of wine? No, Jamie, it's not. Yeah, actually it is, just to be fair.
It's not his last.
It won't be my last. It's been a big week. Amanda says the number of times that the person with the knife has mental health issues that are so bad they don't actually understand what the police are saying is through the roof. In that circumstance, it has nothing to do with respect. They literally can't comprehend the instructions. Amanda, I think this is a very fair point. The problem is, what do police on the front line do when they're facing that situation? So it makes it very, very difficult. But I always love your insight, Amanda. You give great feedback to this show. Jeanette says, afternoon all, just out to lunch with a few old S10 audiences, that's Studio 10. I would like to wish Rob a happy birthday for June 13. Have a lovely day. We'll catch up with BRR later. Jeanette, are you not watching this live? I am very, very upset with you, but we still love you anyway. Mike Goldman says, on the issue of the racism at Big Brother, and Mike Goldman, of course, was the announcer on Big Brother for many, many years and is doing this show for Channel 7 at the moment. Poor Sabong, he deserved more. We need to find him. Hashtag the search for Sabong. Good on you, Mike. I actually like that. Abby says regarding Sabong and the racism issue with Big Brother, I don't think they have intentionally nominated people based on race, but to think that people can't possibly have unconsciousness bias is just ignorant. Okay, and we've got this lovely one from Vanessa regarding Mel Doyle. The lady doesn't age. So true, so true. All right. Thank you very much for all your feedback. We really do love it. And guess what? She has sorted out the issues. Joe Casamento, are you on the line?
Yes. God. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes. Can I just say,
thank goodness.
I cannot believe,
I've got my big
Joe,
mic.
while Robbo was doing that interview, I tried to call you. I tried to message you. I tried to Facebook you. I tried to direct message you on Twitter. And you are always on your phone. How the hell could I not get in contact with you?
Well, last week the phone rang mid-session and I thought that's what chopped us off. So this time I turned my phone off thinking, I don't know, that it might disrupt the transition.
I tried to ring you on Instagram.
Oh my God.
I'm
going to have a shot. I've resorted to shots.
You know, I think when the show finishes today, I think we might just have a group drink and, or maybe we'll do it on air and join the viewers to have a group drink. Amanda's just put her head down. So, Joe, Universal
you've driven all the women in your life to drink.
Yes.
Rob McKnight, Joe Casamento, drunk. Amanda,
Good
drunk.
one,
Rob McKnight, drunk.
I know, I was a teetotaler before.
So true.
We love you.
Joe, Universal Pictures is heading back to cinemas on a high note.
That's right. They are coming back July 9. Universal are releasing a few films. First up, there is an Aussie film called Baby Teeth, which is making big waves. It stars Ben Mendelsohn and Essie Davies. But High Note is the one that I reckon will get bums back on seats. It's coming out July 30. It stars Dakota Johnson, who we, you might have been a fan of from 50 Shades of Grey, or you might not have. But she's in this movie. It's a comedy. It's sort of a very glamorous comedy. It's set in the world of the LA music scene. And I think we've got a little trailer, so let's take a look at what we can expect to see on the screens.
Where are we? Detroit. I can't hear you, Maggie. Detroit. I can't hear you, Detroit! I grew up around music. It's my whole world.
Got one more song for y'all tonight.
If you told 12-year-old me that one day I'd be working for Grace Davis, she's an icon. This woman doesn't even know your last name. She does, sometimes. Stop. I'm not going to tell you guys you're great if you're not great. Do it again.
Damn, the girls still give me goosebumps.
Well, Grace, have you thought any more about the Vegas residency?
Actually, I think it's time I record a new album.
I mean, that's one plan.
What am I supposed to say to her? I'm just a personal assistant, but I'd love to produce your music.
Whoa. Do not sell yourself short. You studied composing, Maggie.
There hasn't been a new Grace Davis record in a decade, and the fans want one.
I'm her manager. Let me do my job, and you do yours, which is get her coffee, Kleenex, Kotex, and whatever else the hell we've been paying you to do for the last 6 months.
I've been here for 3 years.
You get paid? I thought you were an intern.
My life is a joke! Ugh!
It's really bleak out there for middle-aged singers. In the history of music, only 5 women over 40 have ever had a #1 hit, and only one of them was black. I know everyone is happy with me doing the same show every night. What if there's something more?
Grace, you are the song. You should not be buried under all this flashy garbage. I didn't want to tell you or Jack, but I did a cut of your song.
Hey, I can hear y'all. Y'all know it's a damn microphone in there, right? All we got to do is play it safe and stack some money.
I will decide what I do next.
Is the food coming, sir?
We've been over this. We are not a drive-through.
Well, it should be. It could be.
Oh my God, is that Grace Davis?
No.
Joe, that actually looks pretty good, I've got to say.
I reckon we don't need to go see it now we've seen the trailer. Some of these trailers these days, they give it all away, don't they?
You know that she's going to make the song. It's going to be a hit, you know, it'll have a happy ending. But it actually, I don't know that I'd go to the cinema to see it, especially in this environment, but I'd watch it on Netflix.
Oh, absolutely. Sure. You know what? You're in one of only 2%, Rob. Apparently, Event Cinemas did a survey and 98% of people said they wanted their cinemas reopened. So
Really?
I reckon anything will get bums on seats. That's
And that
true.
wouldn't be biased
I
from
reckon it'll
Event
hit the
Cinemas
right
at all,
note.
would it?
No, not really. They would have sampled a very, very, they would have sampled a footy crowd, I reckon. So,
Hey,
but
Joe,
I'm
I got a
going with it.
question
I'm
for
going
you.
with it. Yes.
I want to know, there's Keanu Reeves has been making some headlines. And are you a Keanu Reeves fan first? First of all, are you a Keanu Reeves fan?
I am a Keanu convert. I wasn't really a fan in the 80s, but my daughter is obsessed, and I have learnt to love the man he is, and God, he looks good for his age. So, yes,
He certainly
I love
does.
him.
Why is he making... Why is he making headlines?
The wait is finally over, guys. I don't know if you were big fans of Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, were you?
Fun movie. Very fun movie, Joe.
Is there a trailer?
So number 3 is out. We do have a trailer.
Oh my God, are you two in two different
trailer?
universes? This is like a time delay. It's the worst.
It must be a time delay.
Joe, tell us about Bill and Ted's new adventure.
Yes, it's called Bill and Ted Face the Music. The now middle-aged best friends are on the road to set the world right by finding a song that's going to bring the universe into harmony. They've got their daughters along for the ride, and there is an Aussie twist because Samara Weaving, who's Hugo Weaving's niece, is playing one of the daughters. We do have a clip. I don't know if we've got time for the trailer.
Yeah, we've got plenty of time, Joe. It's all right.
We
Let's
do?
play it.
Play the trailer.
Well, let's have a little look.
25 years ago, you played a concert in front of the entire world. 1 month ago, you played in Barstow, California for 40 people, most of whom were there for $2 taco night. Bill and Ted, what have you got to say for yourselves?
Be excellent to each other. And party on, dudes.
You were supposed to unite the world and save reality as we know it.
Bill, we've spent our whole life trying to write the song that will unite the world. Why can't we just go to the future when we have written it?
Whoa! And take it from ourselves!
But isn't that stealing?
How is that stealing if we're stealing it from ourselves, dude?
No way!
How'd you like our song?
It's a little on the dark side, but you know, that's cool.
Joe, if you could see Robbo's face during that, Robbo, I don't think you're impressed.
Oh, I was like, yeah, I've got this thing where when I look at TV shows, I don't mouth the words. You know when you talk to someone and they mouth words as you're talking to them? My sister has pointed out that I do this. So I do apologise. I haven't seen the original, Joe. So do you think this one will step up to the plate?
Do you know what? There are so many fans out there that are obsessed already with the trailer alone. There's so much noise on the internet about it. Some comments on his hair, some comments he looks 100.
He does look 100. I
One
can't
of those
believe you said he looks good for his age. I thought, how old is he? 567?
Well, he generally does. I think it's the context. I think it's because he's trying to, it's going back to that youthful role. It's 30 years ago he played that role and that sort of language. I think it's either going to really suck or it's going to be a major hit, and it's either going to teach us that we shouldn't go and revisit old franchises. So we'll have to wait and see.
Same kind of thoughts. Yeah, I've got the same kind of thoughts with what you're saying there, Joe. Quickly though, what I want to say is I can understand that you're going for the Princess Leia look today, which I think is spot on. I think it's absolutely bloody wonderful what you're doing there.
Well, my AirPods weren't working, so I've had to pull the big old 80s,
There's nothing wrong with it. We love it. Everything works with you.
Look at me with my big mic.
You.
It really...
Oh, I beg your pardon, Joe. Let's put that down again. We don't want to see your big mic.
We are so off track.
Joe Casamento, Joe, I've got to ask you. I love seeing vision movies, television through your eyes. I need to know what I need to watch this weekend. What have you been watching?
Oh, okay. Well, I'm going to get to my movie, but if you want to watch something really important, watch the Jeffrey Epstein documentary. It will blow your mind. The way power and money and the world's leading business and actors, celebrities and politicians have been in this pedophile ring. Royals, it will break your heart. So I really would have a look at that. But if you're in the mood for a movie, and can I just say as an aside, Hoyt Cinemas are actually offering their popcorn and chop tops at certain select Hoyt where you can get them from Uber or what's the other one?
Well, they're home
Deliveroo.
delivering popcorn and choc chops.
They are at most of their cinemas around Australia. So check out their Instagram. You can order it through Deliveroo or
No, that's great. I look forward to paying $50 for a popcorn and a choc chop. And then you've got the Uber fee.
Yeah, then you've got to wait for it. I know you.
I think you need to ring the bell.
You should just head to the servo, right?
Yeah.
So, Joe, what are you watching this week? Amanda.
Okay, so, but if you've got time for a bit of, look, the weather's bad in most states, although it's quite sunny here. So you'll have a bit of time to check out the Netflix movie called Lovebirds. It's actually a really cute comedy. Look, it's not going to, set your world on fire. It's not the most amazing film you've ever seen, but it's playful and delightful. Do we want to have a little look at the trailer, maybe a few seconds?
Let's have a look.
Yeah, why not?
You are unbelievable.
Looks like love is finally found me.
I love you.
Police officer! He's a criminal! Move!
Justice! Oh my God! I want you to
I don't think he's a cop.
He's fucking dead. We know he's dead, but we didn't kill him. He like to report a murder or whatever. We didn't murder anybody.
1, 2, 3, go!
No.
Okay, the guy's name is Jabron.
Run, Leilani!
And the girl's name's actually Leilani. She's running too now. Kind of slow, like she's wearing heels that look actually amazing.
We have to go to the police because we have nothing to hide. Why did you run from the scene of the crime? Good question, officer. That's me covering up my body cam so I can beat your ass.
We just need to find the guy the police are looking for.
So you're suggesting we actually go out there and solve a murder?
It's locked. Did you think it was one of those men-only doors? All we need is a name, and then we're in the clear.
Hey, man, it's been a minute. Who the fuck are you?
Who do you work for? You little bitch. You little beanbag ballless bitch.
Yeah, you think about your grandma and that furry beanbag bitch.
What? These people are super dangerous and they're really powerful.
This is some Handmaid's Tale bullshit.
We have impostors.
Oh no, imposters, that sucks.
Everyone unmask yourself.
Oh shit. Nobody else took their masks off.
Joe, sorry, I was so caught up with the thing I didn't turn the mics on. That trailer, in the first 10 seconds, I was like, spare me, I am not interested whatsoever. And then as it progressed, it got better and better and better. That's why we had to play the whole thing, because it's just like, this is a good movie.
Yeah, because at the beginning it's, I want to know what love is. It's the kind of movie I'd watch, and you probably wouldn't, Rob, but you're right. It's actually a very funny movie. It follows the couple who are sort of embroiled in this murder mystery. And it's one of those ones where the material's pretty lame, but the two lead actors, and you might recognise Kumail Nanjiani there from The Big Sick, which I did love.
I loved that
That's
movie.
where you might recognise him. And it's one of those ones, where the script might be, ordinary, but the two leads have such great chemistry. They're really funny, and it makes it enjoyable. So it's easy breezy, silly fun. I'm actually going to give it a respectable 3.5 chop tops.
Fair enough. And
Not
look,
delivered.
It's an interesting concept, you know, like it's a very interesting concept. And at least your choc tops
Would
are
you
free,
run?
I hope, Joe, because if you're paying for them,
Yes. No, I get them for. I've gone to gay times while movie cinemas are down. I get my box of 4.
We
That's
all
what-
have.
Can I just tell you, if you want to try an ice cream, get the crunchy ice creams from Woolworths. They are divine. Crunchy ice creams. And if Crunchy
ring
want
the
to
bell,
send me a
mate.
box
Ring
of
the
ice
bell.
creams, please feel free.
Ring the bell. Oh,
All
my
right.
God.
Or maybe we can get them to sponsor the segment.
That'd be great. What a great
We
idea.
should get them to sponsor the segment. Yes.
I'm going to look into that, Joe. Thank you very much, Joe. We'll see you next week.
Bye, Joe.
Mwah.
Bye,
Oh,
Joe.
wow. Okay, let's find out what's happening in the world of entertainment. Hello, Benny boy.
Wow.
You've got an entertainment. Oh, God, Ben's had too many drinks. Ben.
No, I've had nothing to drink. This show has been going longer than the Lord of the Rings trilogy. I'm like, what am I doing? I'm like, it's entertaining. Like, I actually just saw myself on the playback. I look older than Keanu Reeves in the new Bill and Ted movie.
Well,
I'm like,
I tell you what, I want
is
you to
going-
get through entertainment because I'm out of wine. So,
No,
okay,
you
well,
have
let
not had a
me
full
entertain
bottle.
you.
no, it was half a bottle.
Responsible drinking, of course. Let me get the show on the road. So Leah Michele is making headlines still for lots of controversy for being probably now known as the most notoriously hard to work with actress of all time. I have a clip of some very awkward moments between her and her co-star. This is from a few years back, but I think this clip is very telling. Check this out. Awkward Turtle has crawled in.
The best thing about being on tour with everyone is that we really honestly all do get along, thank God. So we get to have a lot of fun with each other. The worst thing I'd say about being on tour is, you know, definitely it's hard being away from our real family. This is our extended new family, but being away from our real families I think was, you know, kind of difficult for us.
And for you,
Same.
Oh my God, it was so awkward. I had to watch it like 5 times, but like, you know, you can see by the looks on Leah Michele's face that she knows that she is making some shit up. Like it was just like, what is going on? Anyway, this morning on Ticket Jumpstart, I had a chance to sit down with Janet Roach and talk to her about her tea line, Raw Essentials. And I also got to talk to her about The Real Housewives of Melbourne, which is coming back soon. But the real tea was spilt when she talked about some of the casting. And I have that clip right now.
We kind of had it a bit on the lowdown that Lydia wasn't coming back this year. Then what happened is that Jackie went in, I don't know if you all know, she's having IVF.
Yeah.
And actually only a day or 2 to know how that's going.
Crossing our fingers. That's a good 40th birthday present.
Oh, unbelievable. And she decided that, and I thought it was a very noble decision, that it's very stressful in Housewives, and that she thought that she would just give it a miss, but she'll be back for the next one. Look, she might be back for this one. And so we thought Lydia was going to be out. But then, of course, when Jackie changed her mind and decided that she was not going to be able to do the season, all of a sudden in the lineup, Lydia was back. And I thought, so I was very annoyed when Lydia was saying, I don't think Jackie was asked back. I thought, if you really knew what was going on...
Well, she does now.
Is that exclusive, Ben?
Well-
That's great info.
Oh my gosh. Now, I will say that a YouTube blogger, Philip with an F, did get that exclusive, but the Daily Mail didn't pick it up. So if no one knows about that story, then they should. I actually did bring it up very loosely as one of the TV black vaults before it had been confirmed by Janet. So look, the story had been around for a while, but I just think it was dangerous to touch. But, you know, the one thing about Janet that you got to love is that she doesn't hold back. She'll just tell you exactly what she's thinking.
Honesty.
And just 30 seconds left of that interview will tell fans of The Real Housewives of Melbourne when the show is coming back. Check it out.
Start in the first week of July. If I can tell you, first of all, I had all my summer wardrobe ready,
ready to
before
go?
filming in
Yeah.
summer. Because you're only allowed to wear everything
It's a lot of
once.
preparation.
So then all winter, I thought, I'm in winter, we're wearing winter. 1st of June and of July. And then we were called just before it came out in the newspaper last week that they're planning, Foxtel have decided that they're not going to start again until January. So back with my summer wardrobe, but it'll be a year old.
Wow.
Just letting you know that story has been picked up by the Daily Mail since we've been on air, which was since the start of the show, which was 2 days ago. But also making some news
little mings. We're giving the viewers what they want, more Ben, Rob and Robbo, because doing for at least 4 hours a week, plus our Eye on Big Brothers, people can't get enough of the three of us together.
Yeah, well, look, I don't take that as a compliment. Yeah. Anyway, look, I'm halfway through this. Well, I'm nearly done. Also making news is Chris Lilly. Chris Lilly has suffered one of the worst shocks that you can have when it comes to making content, and that is being subjected to what a lot of people call cancel culture. I believe that this has been taken off the streaming services for good reason, but before it goes, I just want to play my favorite clip from Summer Heights High, because yesterday I think two of you were saying you didn't watch the show or you didn't think it was funny.
I didn't like it. Didn't like it.
Well, before I get stripped from the internet, this is my favorite moment from Chris Lilly, as he is Mr. G, a non-offensive character, but certainly someone that we can relate to. Check it out.
One thing that I like to do from time to time is I just perform for the kids for a whole lesson, just to give them a sort of benchmark of how things are done, so they can see someone at a professional industry level
that is
handles the performance side of things. And that, in a way, gives them confidence. There's still a drama syllabus that I have to cover.
All right, Ben,
most of what
funny.
I do has a grounding in education. There is a lesson to be learned.
Hang on.
I tell you
sorry.
what, he's a very
Can
funny
someone explain
man.
this to me? Mary has just tweeted us on Facebook, sorry. God, Rob, you're starting to sound like Alan. What does that mean?
Oh, it just means that a bit of Alan's rubbed off onto you, and I think it means
He
that
did
Alan's
not
a little
rub
bit
off on me.
Well, I don't know what he did with you, but I'm just saying that she might be referring to the fact that Alan was a little bit too cocky. So maybe they're thinking you're a little bit cocky. I don't know. I'm drawing some comparisons. I mean, some very horrible conclusions, to be honest. Moving on to my next story.
I may not be a fan of Summer Heights High and all those ones from Chris Lilly, but we talked about this yesterday. We were 24 hours ahead of Australia's media with the Gone with the Wind thing. But it should be left up in context. It might be decided now that you can't use appropriation for acting, but it was a product of its time. It should absolutely be left on there. Put disclaimers on if you want, but I have this big problem with historical shows now being taken off.
I feel like this show has started again, so I'm worried that I'm going to start an argument that's going to reset the program and we're going to have to talk about this. But I think you're raising some points there, and I look forward to, I think we'll debate that again on Monday when we are back. But I appreciate it. Also making news is Sarah Tiong was the recent and most recent eliminated contestant from MasterChef. She has made news headlines right across the country after being on a Triple M breakfast show. They introduced her onto this show by saying "Ni hao ma," which was what is considered to be quite a racist thing to say to her, because it's an assumption of her heritage, which was wrong. So she fired back with a few tweets and Instagram messages saying how racist it was and that we need to have a better look at the way in which we are communicating. So interesting points of view from her. And then finally, I think this is finally, my fifth thing of the day, and the best way to finish the day is a TikTok. And this is my TikTok of the day. Quite hilarious. Reminds me of, well, makes me believe this is what Rob McKnight's like on a Saturday night. Roll clip. You go, Rob McKnight.
That's me every night, Ben. And Mary
I don't disbelieve it.
Mary has replied, correct, Ben, so you picked exactly what she was saying. I don't know what I did. No,
Okay.
I feel horrible.
No, well,
Thanks,
look,
Mary.
let's just start. No. Let's have a viewing party. Let's just rewatch this episode from start, but we'll do it like Gogglebox. And then no one will ever watch our show again. Anyway, look, that is my entertainment news, and that is the tea. And thank you very much for another very exciting episode of the Ben, Rob and Robbo Show, because I'm going to sleep until tomorrow.
Yes, you've had a big week with all your Big Brother jumpstart this show.
It's mental.
And
It's
Mary,
mental.
I really am sorry. You know, I'm a flawed human being, Mary, and you've made me rethink my life decisions. And I'm going to spend the rest of the weekend thinking about you, Mary, and thinking about what I've done. And I'll take a good, hard look at myself.
Anyway,
All right,
moving along
wrapping,
from that,
hard
just
wrap.
finishing up. So,
Hard wrap.
Robbo, before we go,
week.
can I just say,
Yeah.
fantastic job on getting Mel Doyle to the show. You did a fantastic job with that interview. I absolutely am certain that the people out there that love you, and I know they do because they write to me all the time, and shout out to them. You know, it's fantastic to see you having
Thank
that
you,
chat with Mel. I really appreciate it.
All right.
Thank you very much.
That brings us
Very
to
nice
the
words.
end of the
Thank
Ben,
you.
Rob and Robbo show. Thank you for a great week. We will see you on Monday at 1 o'clock for the normal show, but we will see you Sunday at 9:30 for our Big Brother recap show in all our usual feeds. We'll see you then. Thanks, everyone.
It's the Ben, Rob and Robbo, Ben, Rob and Robbo show. Ben, Rob and Robbo show.